back row later on in the half. But
the great thing about this situation now for the French team is they may have knocked the ball on in the Australian 22, but they have so much confidence in their scrum that they can attack this Australian team and hope for a 3-point penalty in this situation. Australia have got to come out and have a serious word, and as Pete mentioned in the half-time, they've got to really make that scrummage of theirs solid, and that's a great answer there. That didn't budge in that first set piece that they've had. Yeah,
whatever Andrew Blade said, the forwards coach, at half-time, it seems to have worked in their resolution in that set piece. Michalak, what an international enigma he is. Does so many brilliant things, and then so many things, decisions are questionable, should we say. 57th cap this evening. Nearly half of those at fly half and the rest at scrum half.
He's a mercurial talent, to say the least, and to rack up 50-odd caps and have not really played for the best part of 4 or 5 years for the French team just shows the talent that he has and the natural ability to play at this level.
Well, it was Philippe Saint-André who brought him back into that Tour de Argentina, but this first time, as you say, in 5 years he's been representing his country on home soil. You see Michalak stepping in to keep the pace of the game. National now in the quick offload to Ouedraogo, not really helping the Montpellier captain, but he's held on to the ball. And France can set and go, but they break with Nyanga. Yannick Nyanga up to the 22, puts his shoulder in, sets the ball up. They need quick ball. Australia aren't going to allow it. Nigel Owen's not quite sure where the offside line is there. Looking for help from the touch judges, but none forthcoming, so Australia have made the turnover. Curtly Beale with that little chip and chase for Fana. Oh, hectic period of play, but not quite sure how Australia exited that 22 without conceding points.
They did unbelievably well. A great break from the angle, and fabulous work of the breakdown from the Australians just to claw that ball back from what was looking like a definite score. But then some of the little basic points, I know they've got to scrum off this, but Curtly Beale there just trying a little chip kick for them, and they really need to stick that ball into the crowd, set back and regroup. But here we see great break from the Nyanga, and then quick work there, great work from Australia just to bust through. Maybe a little bit of offside coming in from the side, but they did so well to get that ball back and stop the French momentum.
Okay lads, let's go.
You can see the red poppies on the left shoulders of the Australian shirts. Playing jerseys, of course, Armistice Day tomorrow. The squad's going to be at a memorial service on Sunday. It's the French press put as combatants on Saturday night, comrades in arms hours later. An important day, of course, across the world. Well, we're 6 minutes into the second half, and Australia yet to get over halfway. But there's no change to the scoreboard, so I suppose with that in mind, they'll be relatively happy.
Yes, and international rugby is all about continuity, pressure, stifling people at the ball, and sitting in your own half is soul-destroying, it's depressing, and if this French army just keeps knocking on that door, busting through the gain line, those little breaks from the anger from Picamol are going to result in points. And this is the biggest error that's costing them dearly. Again, this French domination at scrum time, another potential 3 points, and Australia just don't really know where to go with this at the moment.
Yes, the looks on the faces of those forwards as they got up from the turf. It was, wasn't it? Now, what's Pascal Papé going to decide from here? Florian Fritz is stepping forward, and well, where before we've had Cedric Haymans with the howitzer boot, this time it's Fritz from distance.
Yeah, but not a huge distance. I think that's Michalak understanding and acknowledging his limitations in terms of his kicking distance and everything else, and clearly he doesn't feel like he's got 40 yards in the boot, and Fritz has got one hell of a missile, a rocket in that right leg of his, and he can send it from over 50-55 yards. So this one should be, hopefully, from a French perspective, relatively straightforward for him.
Well, Fritz has got 2 drop goals to his name for France. He's not going to get a penalty though. Swinging that one wide.
He's got a missile in his boot, but his heat seeking slightly off.
Shall I stop the analogy there? Well, Mike Harris is going to stop play. It'll be interesting to see. Brian was saying at half-time whether Derek Barnes will be brought on to steady the ship and provide a little stronger guiding hand to the way that Australia are trying to play. Interesting to see how long Robbie Deans waits before he makes a move like that.
He needs to make a move, that's for sure. We're getting up to 50 minutes in this game, and Australia haven't even managed to get themselves any sort of stronghold or foothold in the game, and they need something just to change the dynamic, because at the moment it's all French, it's all blue at the moment.
Clerc, what a servant he's been to Toulouse and to France. Dislocated his shoulder, of course, in the Six Nations in the stadium against England and missed the Argentina tour, but not very much fit and able. Phillips tries to get Hooper going, but Fofana taking his man down. Very quick line speed from Pickamoles. Palou twisting out to ask Ben Alexander to carry on, but France just suffocating the ball.
Yeah, but it's just good continuity from this Australian side, and they managed to get a little bit of quick ball there. They were on that left-hand side. They're in this French half. They've managed to weather the French storm. They've just got to keep the ball retention. When they've shown in this match, when they keep the ball, they can put pressure on this French team. It's been their basic areas that have cost them. Nearly a fabulous steal from the angle. We spoke about him and Budragon there to try and poach that ball, steal the ball on the ground. He nearly got away with it there. But it's a scrum ball for Australia, and they need. And let's hope that they can really solidify that scrummage ball on this instance, because they're in French territory. They can get some points out of this.
Well, replacements for both front rows. James Slipper had a brief experience of this match early on. Now he's on for Kepu though. And there is some of the Clermont artillery. Benny Kaiser wearing 16 and Thomas Domingo 17.
The mental impact of that from an Australian perspective. They look up, they feel like they might be having a rest or getting some sort of penalty with his French scrum, even though it's 1-1 at the moment. And now these monsters will whack on, these huge Terminators from Clermont that pride themselves on nothing but scrummaging, and this Australian side will be just thinking, when does this ever end?
It ain't going to get easier, that's for sure.
Stay there.
So Slipper at tight head now for Australia, up against Thomas Domingo.
Crouch! Touch! Set!
Clearly a collapsed scrum there, but Nigel Owens just letting it go.
And Cummins with no way through there. And he's still there for the green and gold. KB on there trying to just provide a little bit of imagination, a little bit of inspiration for this Australia side, and lose the ball again, and it's conceding possession in situations like that has become so demoralising for the visitors.
Fabulous tackle from Nyanga there. Again, the little basic errors creeping in, but just some of the images here showing this dominant French defence there. That's Mermoz and Michaud really putting the pressure on, and Nyanga there just showing that if they are going to try and break down this French defence, it's going to be a pretty difficult affair for this Australian team.
Crouch! Touch! Set! In that.
Well, once again the front row sniff the turf, but play continues as Michelin hands one high. Fofana on the chase and takes the ball. Great work from the Claremont back.
Fabulous take, under pressure. What a fabulous take. Great turnover from Australian perspective. Can they make it count?
Well, they're trying to keep the ball moving. Mike Harris trying to work his way up this left-hand touchline. Nick Phipps, I should say, opting to kick the ball away, but they're going to come back for the penalty. But there is a case where if France are in that situation, they can work the space, they can find the hole. You don't get, unless Curtly Beale's on the ball, you don't get the impression that Australia have got that capacity right now in their game.
Yeah, I think that maybe comes back to the point that Brian made at half-time. They need to make some changes. Maybe bring Barry Barnes on, shore up the ship, make it a bit more of a tactical battle. Their line out strong with Nathan Sharp. They need to avoid scrums at all costs. And then when they've got the ball, they just need to keep the fluidity, retain that ball retention. Moments of magic like that from Fofana, you just can't cater for. That was a great up and under. The ball, that kick was on the money. Fofana leapt so high, just clawed it out, but then Australia responded through Michael Hooper with a fabulous turnover. And they just need to, and they're in this half, they've got a bit of, they've had a bit of territory now. It's 16-6, they're not out of this game. They've weathered that 10-minute storm from France, and now they need to up the game, maybe change their tactics, and hopefully Robbie Deans is going to recognise that.
No points since the break, no changing that scoreline. Australia have to make something of the possession that they're now building up.
Hughes 9.
Next pod ready and waiting, led by Kepu. Again Beale looking to straighten things up. Again Collins offering himself on his shoulder. This time the ball wasn't there, but Ben Alexander tries to bullock a hole.
I mean, in answer to your point there, that's a classic point. Great turnover from France. When we had that shot, that Australian side of the breakdown, all 15 were within 15 yards of that breakdown. They're running out of ideas, and this French defence are just gobbling them up, and they're now making them pay for it.
Curtly Beale having to kick the ball away. Bryce Dillon invites Michalak to work a position, and Michalak works the position. He's got support, and it's that man Fofana, and Wesley Fofana goes over for his 5th try for his country, and there you suspect is the game in the space of 3 phases. That just highlights where Australia are, and critically where France are.
France are absolutely brimming with confidence, bubbling all over the place. A disastrous, terrible kick from Curtly Beale there. Just a kick to nothing, gifting the ball back to this French side. The Australian defence was all over the place. They just come back from a kick down, and Michalak makes them pay. It's terrible play from Curtly Beale, and fabulous recognition of the counter-attack. And this man, Fofana, who's been absolutely outstanding for this French side so far in this game, is there to capitalise on it. And Australia and Robbie Deans must make changes fast.
Well, Fofana scoring his 5th try in 7 games, scored in each of his first 4 internationals, playing on the wing for just the 2nd time. But that man Michalak, he was the man that conjured it up, saw the opportunity, the dancing steps, opened the door for Fofana to finish off, and now Michalak looking to finish off this phase with another 2 points. He's almost like Bassani Serevi, isn't he? Just stands and chips it over from wherever he is.
It's great to see this French side playing with such confidence. We questioned at the start of this game the selection of Michalak at 10. We questioned whether National had the temperament for international rugby, and whether Picamol could shoulder that burden of trying to lead that back row. And they have responded to those questions with huge effect, and they are dominating this game in every facet of it. And there's the change we spoke about. Derek Barnes coming on, got to change the whole momentum and territory and tactics of this Australian side.
So as we approach the hour mark, that score just changing the mindset of both countries. I suspect it's forcing the French esteem And now Australia going to have to change things up.
Is it too late? That's the biggest question now. They're 17 points behind. They need answers, and they need them fast. And can Berry Barnes provide that?
There is Beale just waiting for somebody to come off his shoulder. In the end, it's the second row, Kane Douglas. Again, the ball comes loose. It's rescued by Dave Dennis.
Ruck is called now. It's a ruck.
This French crowd, this French partisan crowd are getting vociferous in their support. They're loving the way this French side are playing, and they're just demonstrating their quality and how much they enjoy their rugby in front of their home crowd.
Well, it's interesting, we've talked about team selection all evening. In the training camp, Philippe Saint-André not only brings the likes of Bryce Dulin, but also Eddie Benarouz, the young prop at Racing, Christopher Tolofua, the hooker who's now suspended, but you look at the likes of Pierre Gunter, Jules Plisson, fly off at Stade Francais, who you played with, Ollie, Benjamin Fall, Gaël Ficou, the 18-year-old centre at Toulouse, Vincent Martin, the teenage wing from Toulon. There is so much French talent that he is ready to put into this French side at the right time, and that has been the key tonight, because we've seen the right selections work for France this evening, no?
Yeah, I totally agree. France has always been blessed with the riches of talent, and often the most frustrating and yet wonderful thing about French rugby that we've always harped on about was they could beat anyone on their given day, but the one thing they lacked was consistency. They're starting to demonstrate it under Philippe Saint-André, probably due to some of the time that he spent maybe in English rugby, where that's something we pride ourselves on, building that consistency and maybe playing more of a percentages type of game. And if France can add that aspect to their game, and then they can start utilising this new dawn of talent that are coming through in Fofana, for example, that is a huge talent for them. Ouedraogo, you've already said, Nyanga, Picamo, these guys who are replacing the old guard of Haran Ordaki and perhaps Dussautoir, and Michonneau at 9 replacing Yashvili. These guys are building on this, getting international experience against quality international opposition such as Australia, and they can take that forward and build the confidence.
Yes, it is a generation game that's happening in front of French eyes when you think of the likes of Nalé, Servat, Bonner, Chaval, of course, all retired, and then, as you say, the Biarritz boys, Yashvili and Haran Ordaki, Rougerie, well, he's back playing, not out of the picture by any means. Thierry Dussautoir yet to come back, an inspirational captain and, of course, IRB Player of the Year.
That's the embarrassment of riches that they have, the quality and depth in this squad that this French side has, and the one thing they need to do is harness that ability to deliver it on a consistent basis. And when they're up against this Australian side, they get momentum, and their scrum starts functioning, the defence operates. They're a fabulous side to watch. It's going to be interesting how the rest of this autumn series goes as they move on. If they can now build on this score, really put this Australian side to the sword, and continue that momentum into the rest of the autumn internationals.
Yeah, a special moment for number 16, Stephen Moore, becomes the most capped Australian hooker now as he trots on for his 73rd cap. And behind him, well, a former Parisian favourite, Radiki Samo. Of course, played many times in this locale with Stade Francais, 2 seasons, won the top 14 title with them in 2007. Can he add a different dynamic now? Because the tourists need something to spark themselves as this game moves past the hour mark. With France in control, certainly in the set piece and on the scoreboard.
It is great to see actually the importance of the scrum and how much that plays into victories and territory and domination and dictating how play goes at international level. Australia just haven't been able to compete in that area, and therefore they haven't been able to get any territory, any possession, and apply any pressure to this French side that have constantly been backed against the wall, whereas the French have had almost an armchair ride through 60 minutes of this game because of that domination they've had.
Well, we're seeing some great international rugby at the moment, but we're back to domestic rugby with the Aviva Premiership in a fortnight's time. Ryan Redpath taking his new side back to his old side at King's Own Gloucester, entertaining Sale Sharks. That's a lunchtime game. And then on the following day, it's London Wasps against Leicester Tigers, 2 o'clock. Dates for your diary as we move back into the Premiership. So Yann Huget adding more strike power to this French back line. It means presumably that Fofana will revert back to his more familiar position. Huget, of course, now playing for Toulouse, having moved over from Bayonne. Wearing 23 there, you can see him just hovering outside Freddie Michelak. Forwards don't want to give it up right now though. Memoirs can play 12 or 13. Memoirs has the capacity as a second ball player, but losing the ball on that occasion. Stephen Moore trying to open up that right flank for the Australians. Pat McCabe. There's Berwick Barnes trying to get the structure into this Australian game, get the flow going, get some momentum and get them up into the opposition half for starters. It's not working out for the tourists at the moment.
Australia now having to play high-risk rugby. They've got to get back into this game, try and get some points on the board. They're having to play from their own 22, and at the moment this French defence is just standing resolute, waiting for them to come onto them and looking for mistakes, looking for opportunity to turn the ball over.
Monsieur Huget, and there's what Berwick Barnes has been asked to do now to get Australia playing in the right sort of areas. You see the moustaches, the Movember being utilised across the world with supporting the charities. Great to see.
It's interesting just to point there to see that Courtney Beale is still starting at 10, still lining up at 10. They pushed Berwick Barnes back to fullback, and that, from a tactical perspective, I just don't understand that. They need somebody who perhaps is more adept or natural slot into that, a natural individual to slot into that 10, where Courtney Beale can be a bit freer and run it back from fullback at the moment. I don't understand that tactical change, and a fabulous take from Huget again just to keep that pressure on this Australian team.
Yann Huget takes Les Bleus up to the 22 once again. Michelak pings it wide. Fofana gets the pass away. Dulin taking the ball. Vincent Clerc coming in to support this fullback. They want quick ball. They've got it now. The forwards arrive in the shape of Nyanga. Josh Suter, how he would love a try on debut this afternoon. The ball back to Pickermold. Pickermold going for his second, trying to surf his way in, stopped just short. Benny Kaiser with his hands on the ball, looking at the options. The pass blocked, but Michelak picks up the scraps and France go again. Thomas Domingo, he's used to scoring tries, the loose head. I think he's just been held up over the line there. Angelo getting in good position.
Such a shame, because what a brilliant expose for rugby there. The French were just all over it, breaking tackles, offloading for over. Fofana started off, Huget started off with a fabulous take in the air, and then from then the French just came alive. They are playing with such confidence. It's so good to see a French side when they play like this, and that merited 5 points, because that was just outstanding play, and hopefully they can capitalise on that from this scrum.
Well, there's a change, and Maxime Machinot has done his international aspirations no harm through this first 63 minutes. Morgan Parra, the experienced hand, albeit when I say that, you look, he's still only 23 years of age, but coming on to win his 44th cap, and now coming on to a team that are really buoyant, really up for it, and really looking to turn the screw on their visitors in this last 16, 17 minutes or so.
He will be wanting to go home. He doesn't look as though he's got any ideas or solutions to this problem.
Okay, come up there. I want the gap. No, I give the gap. You stay there. Clear? Stay there then, please.
New combatants, new ingredients in the front row. Vincent Debatty on this near side for France. A huge man, the Clement Leven tight head. Ben Alexander's had a tough time thus far. It's only going to get worse now. Look at the power coming on from the French 8. Again, the force is going to tell, because it's going to be a penalty try. Nigel Owens has seen enough, and the power of this pack is just turning the screw on Australia. You can see the frustration from the tourists as they blow up. But right now, it's this game really in France's control.
Well, the power there that they demonstrated. The scrum actually goes down here if you watch, and then the French front five just have the ability and strength just to lift this Australian side back up, pick them up off their feet, and just drive them over. They can do whatever they want in that contact area, in that scrum area. And England for next week will be licking their lips looking at that, because the likes of Cole and the English front row will be thinking we can really get an upper hand. And France here have demonstrated that dominance in that area is you just can't live with it at international level.
Well, England may be looking forward to it, but this scoreline is going to mean that France are going to hop over them into 4th place in the IRP World Rankings.
They won't be too happy about that point, that's true.
That's a double-edged sword, but Philippe Saint-André and Patrice Lagisquet just down his right-hand side will be enjoying what they're watching now.
Time is still out anyway.
Louis Picamolles has benefited from the superiority that his tight five have been able to manage over their opposite numbers, and it really has been from the word go. Michalak pots another 3, takes his personal tally to 16, and it takes his side up to 30 points now.
Okay, yeah.
Michalak has really been on one of his good days, hasn't he? He really has been able to see what's on and open up this Australian defence as and when he's needed to.
I think it's also, I mean, he's been unbelievable today. He's been phenomenal for them, controlling and dictating the play all over the place. And I think it's credit to that French front 8, their forwards, because they have given him a platform that he can almost have an armchair ride. He doesn't need to worry about things, and therefore when Michalak is not under pressure, he doesn't have to panic and worry about things. He is unstoppable, and today he is red hot.
Damien Shuley replacing Louis Picamolles at the base of the scrum, and Nathan Sharp coming off. Rob Simmons wearing 19 there, replacing the Australian captain.
Time on.
You wonder whether that's a sign from Robbie Deans that he thinks this game is gone and up.
Stay blue.
And there's the debut also for Paddy Ryan wearing 18. I'm sure it's the best of circumstances to appearing. Yannick Nyanga's rolling around like a footballer.
I'm hoping that's not because of a mistake he made by dropping the high ball. Perhaps he got a late hit, but I mean that was one of the first mistakes of the second half that the French team have made. And I think just building on a couple of things and where they move into the IRB standings and the significance of this win, this autumn series, France play Australia and then they play Argentina and Samoa. So this is, in terms of billing, perhaps their hardest game, although Argentina may argue about that after their win over Wales today. But no, I'd really love to see this French side. It's a shame this autumn we're not going to see them against the truly top quality nations. Australia here, but then maybe South Africa, New Zealand, so we can just see how far this French side's come and how strong they're going to be going into the Six Nations.
It's Argentina the next up for Les Bleus. That's going to be in Lille next weekend, and then it's Samoa. I think it was Rob Simmons with that lift, and was it a drive in? Didn't look like he put him down with too much care, did it? and that is going to hurt, and that is why Yannick Nyanga is in a bit of pain.
I think that's Australian frustration just shining through there.